Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. I am going to call this meeting to order at exactly 6 o'clock. Okay, would everybody please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, let's move forward. No adjustments. Approval of minutes. I'm looking for a recommendation to approve the minutes as presented. Monday, January 8th, 2024, workshop at 4:30 p.m. January 8th, workshop at 5:15. January 8th, regular meeting at 6 p.m. Monday, January 22nd, executive session at 3 p.m., January 2nd, executive session at 3:30 p.m., January 22nd, school committee workshop at 4:30 p.m., January 29th, Monday, executive session 3:30 p.m., January 29th, budget workshop at 4, and January 29th, executive session at 6 p.m.
I make a motion to accept that recommendation.
Thank you.
I second it.
Thank you very much, Amy. All in favor? Thank you. Public comments, do we have anybody? Nobody. Okay, well, it's because everybody's watching and listening. No communications, no committee reports, superintendent reports.
Sure. So light agenda this evening. We've been busy today. Just so people know, we earlier today had a safety committee meeting. We also had a teacher negotiation session that led right into a school committee budget workshop. So as we are in the difficult, challenging times of February, we are looking to have probably a light agenda. That being said, we do want to kick things off with our student representative reports. Before we head into the latest edition of the Spotlight, I'll turn it over to our student reps to see if there's anything that you would like to report out on.
So first off, we had the Sanford varsity cheer. They just competed this weekend. It was the MPA regional competition, and so they actually competed so well that they were able to qualify for state. So they're going to have another meet for the state championship in Augusta Civic Center, and it's going to be, I think, it will be next Saturday. So there's that to look forward to. So good job to them. And then also, we just had Step Africa. They came to Sanford High School, which was really cool. They came to the PAC for all Sanford High School students. And for those that don't know, Step Africa, they're a dance group that they kind of focus on the art of stepping. And stepping is it's a form of dance where you kind of make noises with your body and your feet and stuff, and just to make a form of music. And I heard a lot of great comments about it. Everyone was very psyched to be a part of it. It was very collaborative, and there was a lot of just participation between the audience and the students, which was really cool. But yeah.
This past Saturday was the wrestling dual state tournament, which went, I would like to say, pretty well. We got second, which is pretty awesome. Everybody did an amazing job. I think that the upperclassmen did amazing, but also the underclassmen on our team did a really good job. There were some people on the B team that stepped up and wrestled that A team in some missing spots. And I don't know, it was a really fun day. Even though we didn't get first, it was really, really fun. And then also, in exactly 12 days, we go to Greece. Woo! I'm so excited. I think it's about 70 travelers that are going. I know that everybody's kind of counting down the days. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Not this past Friday, but the Friday before, National Art Honor Society had their field trip to Boston, where we visited the Isabel Stewart Gardner Museum and the Museum of Fine Arts, where we could kind of see if we wanted to take a career path in the arts, where that might lead us. And we also, I just wanted to remind everybody that junior meetings, schedule them now, and parents are welcome to come, and you can discuss sort of a plan and some goals for the future.
Yes, and did you guys get back on time from your trip to Boston?
We missed the train that we were supposed to be on. Miss Schindler actually tried to wave it down on the platform just as we got there. It was going away, but we got on the next train, so it ended up being okay. It's like an hour and a half later than we were supposed to, I think.
Yeah. I point that out not to embarrass you, but to show you the life skill that is going to be able to help you later on down the line to be able to do that. But no, that was excellent. And those junior meetings are important that you can set up with your school counselor as you start to really start to look ahead beyond Sanford High School. And congratulations to wrestling and cheering as you pointed out. And good luck to them as they move into their next round of state championship and regional championships. And Step Africa, I had a chance to see the performance for the students as well. And I was also very impressed with the performance and the skill and talent, but also with our student response in terms of that, to really see that. So kudos all the way around for that. Let's jump into the Sanford Spotlight. Do you three want to continue, or you don't have to read everything here? You can just kind of give the overview, because we really, what we call this in the business is a tease. We want people to be so interested that they're going to go look at it themselves to be able to do that. So we don't have to really go that far to read it line by line. But if you folks don't mind, and I was worried that I didn't print out hard copies for them, but as you can see, they're using their phones. Hard copies are not necessary. Go ahead, students.
I'll start it off. So the kindergarten and pre-K showcases at Morgan Chase Smith happened. The kindergarten for me supports kindergarten students' learning and their development in literacy and language. So the program just kind of showcased everything that the students have been learning over the year. And then the Greatness Kindness Challenge at Sanford Middle School. Students and faculty at the middle school celebrated a week-long celebration of kindness. It's a national movement that helps to engage students in random acts of kindness. And then a SHS senior named candidate in the U.S. Presidential Scholars Program. So senior Lamara Mokaheni was selected as a candidate for the Presidential Scholarship Program, which is super rare, as each year up to 161 students are named U.S. Presidential Scholars. Then at the different schools, at MCS, Mrs. Creech students presented their informational research on various weather-related topics. At CJL, third graders in Mrs. Letterer's class earned a slime party as a class reward for good behavior. At the Sanford Middle School, the aquaponics program recently featured in the classroom's February newsletter. 7th grade students utilized the space for multiple science experiments. And at Sanford Pride, the 2nd grade students have been working on their math fluency, and it just talks about some of the different things that they've been learning.
As Emma mentioned before, Step Africa performed at Sanford High School, which is a sort of dance where they make rhythms with their body. The crucial role of maintenance and custodians when winter weather arrives details the crucial role of the maintenance and custodians for the winter weather, specifically how Jason Dudley, the Director of Facilities and Maintenance, contacts and utilizes his team to deal with those. Writing showcase at Margaret Chase Smith. The 3rd graders at MCS displayed to their family and friends what they've been working on in school to showcase what they've been learning and the skills they've learned. SRTC program joins forces to craft fire pits. The welding and metal SRTC program collabed with the robotics students to collaborate and design a fire pit at their SRTC. The Sanford High School winter ensembles have begun working on putting together their performances, which the season begins in March. Winter Guard will be performing Car Wash, and Winter Percussion will be performing Best Day Ever. SCAE holds Successful Author Visit. Sanford Community Adult Education Center held a visit with an author who wrote the book Bad Butter and handed out copies to the people who attended.
Okay, and then as always, we like to recognize someone that's really working hard above the others in the just Sanford community. So this time it was Dina Wilson. She's a teacher at MCS, so if you want to read more about all the work she's doing in the community, there's a letter there. And then also the SRTC applications are open this year for the 2024-2025 school year. And then they're also holding an open house on Wednesday, February 7th, and it'll be from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. So if that's something that is of interest to you, there's also a letter there to read more about that. And then also, as always, if you have any stories or anything you just want to like kind of bring to light within the Sanford community, we're always looking for new stories for these Sanford Spotlights, so make sure to contact Sam Bonzier, and his email is linked below. And then also, so there's actually a tribute, a show for Valentine's Day, so it's the Treat Your Valentine to Frankie Valli tribute show, which is supposed to be really great. And so if that's something that interests you, there's a letter below to kind of like find more about that. And also you can buy the tickets on the PAC website. And then also the school committee has begun its work for approving budget for the 2024-2025 school year, and their next workshop will be February 12th. And so there's some information there, linked there about that. And then also, as always, making sure to keep up with attendance. It really matters in the end. So just always making sure to just keep up with that and just throughout the school year. And then also pre-K lottery registration, it opens Monday, February 26th. So pre-K programs, they're offered at Carl J. Lamb, or MCS, Sanford Pride, and Sanford Regional Technical Center. And it's also remember there's no cost for any of these programs. So click the link for more information about that. And then there's free meals offered. And so there's the times below that they're offered for breakfast for all the schools, so there's always that option. That's definitely important. And then also, it's important to download the Sanford Spartan app. That's always an option, and it just really helps you stay up to date with all that's kind of happening. It's sometimes it's hard because there's so much happening to kind of like stay in tune with everything, so that's definitely a way to stay up with it. And then also, there's some highlights from the newest Main Street memo. So there's the Goodall Library updates, a new health clinic opening in Sanford, parks and recreation, relocation, and programs. And there's a lot more going on, so just click the link to read more about that. And then, as always, there's the Sanford community links. So there's City of Sanford, WSSR-TV, Sanford Athletics Instagram, Spartan Times online newspaper, and then the Sanford Springville News. So there's always that just to stay up to date as well.
Excellent, well done. As you can see, there's a lot going on in the Sanford School Department, and so there's a lot of information packed into that latest edition of the Sanford Spotlight. We'll be releasing that district-wide tomorrow, Wednesday, when we can get that out. A lot of good information in there that ranges the whole district, right? There's everything from pre-K all the way to adult education and everything in between for that. So nice job, folks, in presenting that. There is something in there that we wanted to highlight our maintenance department and our custodians, because we've had some weather recently, and the weather has impacted our schools where we've had some delays, and we've also had some early release connected to the weather. And I think some people just think, oh, what's going on? You just show up and think, oh, everything is okay. There's a lot of hard work that goes behind that. And we wanted to highlight our maintenance department, because a lot of that is unsung that I think people don't realize. People are home, asleep in bed, and they are out working hard to be able to get our schools ready for us to be able to open, or in some cases, if it has to be a delay, to do that. So kudos to them for the work that they do and helping us be able to safely come to school.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Oh. I think the seniors would appreciate a snow day, or them not doing as well of a great job as they already are, so that they could not be on the last day of everybody else. Just as a side point, I'm looking at you two seniors. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Amen. There we go.
The superintendent is well aware of that timing right now. Last Friday, the groundhog didn't help us any in terms of if that groundhog's forecast is correct, we're going to have an early spring. But I do realize how that calendar's lined up right now. So, we'll see. But I would think that there might be a snow day or two in the forecast. Okay.
Oh, I just had a quick response to the spotlight on, I also got to attend the Step Africa show, and I just think it's always important to thank our community for the support that they lent in the building of that Performing Arts Center. Every time I go there, I feel so honored to have it in my community, and I'm attending more and more shows, and the quality of the shows that Brett, the director, is bringing to Sanford are just really great. So if you're dragging your feet to get to a show and you live here locally, I would 100% encourage you to go. I also just want to give a shout out to a local donor who enabled dozens and dozens of new Mainers to be able to attend that show. That was just a really generous donation, and I always think it's important to recognize just the incredible community that we live in and the generosity of the people in whom we get to share this space with.
Hear, hear. Well said. Absolutely. Big thank you there. Field trips, the Camden Conference in the Classroom, that's coming up. That's going to be Friday through Sunday in Rockland. That is a February 16th to 18th. For that, that's a field trip that has taken place in the past. For that, it's an overnight. We'll be taking up students in grades 10 through 12, usually about 8 students we can expect for that. That's a conference which is on foreign policy conference on the geopolitical future of India. So that will be coming up. Looking forward to our kids being able to participate in that. Also wanted to give people a school budget update. I mentioned earlier that we did have a school committee budget workshop prior to this meeting. And so our first school committee workshop was a week ago on Monday, January 29th. The initial budget that was presented had an increase of a 9.2% increase in expenses. We did work on getting that down, and this afternoon's workshop, we got that down to now an 8% increase in taxation and expenses. That's an increase of 17.2%. We realized that those numbers are still high, and we're working on being able to do the difficult work to get that down even further. We've set a goal of trying to get an increase in expenses at 6.4% for next Monday's meeting. The challenge that we have in what we're doing is it's really getting to the point where to be able to get to those places, it's probably going to result in the loss of positions and some of the cutting of positions. And so that is very difficult. That's not something that anyone is pleased or happy about. We'll continue to do that difficult work. I encourage people to be able to look at and follow along with the budget. We do on our website have a tab on there that will talk about 2024-2025 budget. That will be able to have videos of meetings and attachments and presentations and things that you'll be able to get your information to be able to do that. Looking ahead, just next Monday's meeting, I think we're going to have to adjust the time to that to start at 4:30 instead of 4 o'clock because we do have another teacher negotiations meeting being able to be set in there. So that's an update on the budget. Encourage people to come and be able to get involved. Our goal is to present a budget, finalize a budget at the school committee level at our meeting on February 26th. So that will be something at that time. What we approve will then be going to the city council, and that will start each Tuesday in March. Both the city and the school department will be presenting our respective budgets and really looking at trying to have a budget that the city council will approve, a school budget, at their first meeting in April. That's the timeline so that we can get that set up for a referendum to come into in June for us to be able to make that timeline. So that's a budget update. With that, a big thank you to the school committee for all of your efforts working hard here as we try to be able to look at those budgets. And that's the superintendent's report for this evening.
Okay, thank you. Moving forward, director's report. Steve Bussier is going to discuss with us the update for First 10 grant.
Good evening. This evening, I'd like to give you an update on the First 10 work that is going on at Sanford Pride Elementary School, and really at all three of our elementary schools. If you remember, just to give you a brief overview of what First 10 is First 10 schools and communities bring together school districts, elementary schools, and early childhood programs to improve the quality of education and care for young children and their families. They work to improve teaching and learning, deepen partnerships with families, and provide comprehensive services for children and families. So the First 10 work at Pride Elementary School began late in July. The work is funded through a grant, a First 10 grant by the Maine Department of Education. The team has we met as an initial meeting at the end of July with the First 10 folks, and we have been meeting since the school year started every 3 weeks. Part of the grant, we have an outreach coordinator that has been hired as part of the grant. The outreach coordinator has worked specifically at Pride, because that is the school that is identified with the First 10 work. Her name is Shana Palmer. She has worked closely with our pre-K and our kindergarten families to support them with their transition into school, and also support them with any services they may need in the community. One of the things that she's also done is she's helped grow our team that has been meeting and creating some strategic partnerships in the community. So when I say the team, who's been meeting? We have classroom teachers, pre-K, the CDS site director, the school administrators at SPE. I have been part of that team. Head Start, the coordinator from Head Start. We have Matt Willett from the YMCA who has joined us, the school librarian, school social worker, school counseling. We have representation from local daycare providers, Maine Families Organization. The Maine DOE also has allocated someone to oversee all the First 10 school districts in the state of Maine, and currently there are 3, so she has newly joined us. First, for me, a community coach has joined us, and the Kids Free to Grow. And this list of organizations that have come to the table continues to grow as we continue this work. As we think about First 10, bringing on pre-K to the Sanford School Department was a tremendous undertaking by the community, both from a financial aspect, but also from a logistical aspect. In our schools, we needed to find space, staff, supplies, programming. It was a big undertaking, but one of the things as we bring on early childhood education is working with families. And this grant is really aimed at working in helping us developing our relationship with families from an early age. So if you click on the next slide, we have 3 goals that the committee has been working on for this year. And you're going to see as the next 3 years roll out, we're going to begin to implement strategies. So our goals may change, but our goals this year was to increase family engagement and home-to-school connections and relationships through strategic parenting support and education, to improve pre-K to K transition process, support student transition success and increase attendance, and then improve early intervention and establish an early childhood elementary continuum for pre-K, K students through curriculum alignment and professional learning for all pre-K, K, Head Start, daycare, and other community child care teachers and caregivers. If you could move to the next slide, Beth. So what exactly are we doing? So one of the first things that strategies that we've talked about was school-connected play and learns. School-connected play and learns are just that. They're play and learn series. They last about 6 weeks. They are with the same cohort of families. So a cohort So a family signs up for 1 week, and then they continue on for the next 6 weeks. The sessions consist of a read aloud, a parent education, so they're talking to parents about a parent education piece. The kids play, they have a craft activity, and they have a snack. So it's bringing kids in so they can play, providing the parents with an education component. But the biggest thing there is it's connecting our families together. It's connecting our schools to our families and giving them a name to a face for school folks. So that's what a Play and Learn is, the gist of it. For us, our Play and Learn series, we did send a flyer out that asked parents to fill out a survey if they're interested and to provide us with some feedback. We have 31 families that have expressed interest, that's outstanding. When we started this work, they said if you can get 8 to 10, that'd be perfect. We have 31 that expressed an interest. So from that interest survey, the planning has begun, and they're looking to have our first session the week after February vacation. And because our interest is so high, they're even looking at the potential to do a morning session to hit those morning families, and then to look at potentially doing an afternoon session, like that 5:30 to 6:30 or the 4 to 5 time. They're still nailing down the times. These Play and Learns looks like the day sessions, we're looking at using an adult ed facility, and the evening sessions, we're looking at use Pride Elementary School with that. So there's a lot of work that's going on there. Big component of that is the parent education piece. And we have decided as a community, we did some research, we looked at the programs that are out there, and we have decided on the basics program to use for our education piece with that. So Beth, do you want to just play this quick video?
Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me?
Learning begins the moment your child is born.
Baby, baby, baby.
Do you want to play too?
Every child is filled with vast potential for success in life. And those first 3 years can have the greatest impact on your child's learning.
Go here. With the wheels. We're going to push this. And then they all spin. Ooh.
Wow, awesome job.
It's all about giving a child a proper start. That's what being a parent is all about.
Lo estás haciendo, amor, lo haces.
I wanted to make sure that I was here every day. Such a joy.
Every parent of every background can make a positive difference in their child's life.
Just peel it. Oh.
A few simple, everyday activities can make a big difference. That's why The Basics is working with research and community leaders to promote an important new initiative.
2. Good job. 3.
The Basics are 5 simple principles that we want everyone to know. The first of the basics is to maximize love and manage stress. The second is to talk, sing, and point.
Let's take a bath. A lovely, bubbly bath.
The third is to count, group, and compare.
1, 2, 3.
The fourth is to encourage and enable movement in space and play. And the fifth is to read, but not just to read. We want to read and discuss stories.
Whoa, what is that? A duck. What does the duck sound like?
These are the 5 fun and simple things that every parent can do beginning from birth.
Can you stack it? Orange and yellow.
Let's all work together to make sure our children can become the best, most well-prepared they can possibly be.
Maximize love.
And manage stress.
Talk, sing,
And point.
Count, group.
Y compare.
Explore through
movement and play.
Read and discuss stories. Please join us and help spread the word.
So that's the basis of the parenting campaign. The Play and Learn series, the first session, they'll have an overview, but each session that follows, they'll go over one of the components. And one of the things that we're looking to do is to spread this out so that we have consistent language between daycare providers, pediatricians. It'd be great if we can get them on board, and they're simple. They're simple, there's handouts, and the other thing is somebody's invested in this, and so it's also free. So that's the, when we think about sustainability, we think about language, that's also the good part. So we're excited about that. That's the big thing that's happening, the Play and Learn series with that. Now, the other piece of it is a kindergarten transition plan, working on a transition plan for kindergarten. And as we think about that, we're thinking about transitions in 4 different types of connections. We think about connecting the child to school, the program to school, family to school, and then the school to community. And so as we're approaching our transition into kindergarten, we have pre-K, but that's only part of the puzzle. We have a lot of kids that are still in private daycares or in home. We need to work to connect those kids to our kindergarten programs, but we also need to work to connect our pre-K kids to kindergarten. So the work that's being done there, I'm super excited about. Next slide. So as we think about transitioning into kindergarten, the first thing that we did over the fall and early winter is we sent a pre-K survey out to our teachers, and we asked our teachers, what are the knowledge and skills do you think are important for an incoming kindergarten student to have? And we also asked them, what do you think are some topics that you would benefit from knowing to support kids? So from out of that, we've come up with some 5 or 6 big skills that we've identified as important skills that we want all students that are coming into kindergarten to have. We've also identified some joint learning topics that are potential topics. Here's the thing that I'm most excited about. During our ERD time on Wednesday, our kindergarten staff and our pre-K staff are going to get together. And they're going to review the knowledge and skills, they're going to review the professional learning topics, and they're going to talk about, do we agree? And then what's the next learning topic that we want to have? And then we're going to work also to bring in our outside daycare providers. So those facilities that are providing instruction to other pre-K settings, bringing them involved into the discussion. So this is the first time in our district that our pre-K and K staff have gotten together as a district-wide to begin those conversations. So I'm really excited about that. Down below the second part of that kindergarten transition process, we've worked on a form, we've developed the form that parents can provide for their incoming kindergartner to provide the teacher with some information. So they've worked on developing that form. Also looking at each one of our schools, how are we doing kindergarten registration? How are we welcoming our families into our school? Here, go online, fill out the form. Here's a packet, fill out the form. Oh, you come to drop it off and the office is crazy and you're like, what is this circus that I'm signing my kid up for? We're trying to slow it down a bit, and we're looking to have what we're calling kindergarten registration evening or afternoon, where parents can come in if they want to have help and support filling out those forms, meet school staff, just to slow down that process to help with the transition in a more welcoming way. So on Wednesday, that is also, we're going to break up into our schools to talk about what that's going to look like at each school. And then the final piece that we've also...
And I think families could meet other families.
Yeah,
right? That's also an opportunity to come back to be able to do that, which I think is.
And then the other piece, this should be a separate bullet as well. We're also working on a 10 high-quality book campaign. So what are those books, that stories that we want our kindergarten students to be successful or have experience with when they come to kindergarten? So walking in, if a teacher says, wants to read Brown Bear, all the students would have experience with Brown Bear. So we've already identified the list of books. So now we're looking at securing those books with some grant funds, putting some bookmarks together to make families aware, hey, here are the books, here's some reading strategies, and getting those in the hands of families, whether it be on a registration night, in the doctor's office, in the bank, in our classrooms. So we're excited about that. So that's where we're at with First 10. I have to give props to the members of that team. It has been a commitment. Also, Shayna, if you see Shayna, she's been doing tremendous work. And Susan Inman also has been leading the charge in this. How does this apply to all our elementary schools? All our elementary schools are going to benefit from everything that was on that screen because they're all going to be involved. It's just the heavy lifting is being done by a lot of the folks at Pride. So, any questions?
I think that's an important piece, Steve, is kudos to the team and kudos to you for leading this work. It's Pride specific to start, but I think our plan is to be able to make sure that the things that are being put in place are going to be something that can be replicated throughout all of our elementary schools in terms of being able to help build those connections with that. Do you want to speak to the sustainability?
Yeah, I was just going to mention. So the sustainability, first year of the grant, it was 100% paid. The position was 100% paid. The funds we have for the parent engagement activity, the Play and Learns, some of the books, we have grant funds for that. The next 2 years, we're going to be required to pick up more of the cost of the salary position. That is being funded through Title I under family engagement. So there's no cost to the local taxpayers or in the local budget. It's coming out of Title I family engagement, which is a requirement under the Title I funds. We're required to spend certain money on family engagement. So those are where those funds are coming from. So, yeah, it's really been bringing on pre-K. I think it's been a natural transition, what we were looking for. And I'm glad we took the time and are engaged in it. So,
I just think it's super exciting that we're going to be, that basically I'm not sure of all of the preschools, but that those outside preschools are going to be coming together and sort of with the schools, because in the past it's been so separate. So I think it's amazing.
yeah, we're trying to engagement, trying to get them involved, trying to bring them in because they want to. It's just a matter of finding the opportunity for folks. So,
I would just say, I hope that prior school committee member Kendra Williams will watch this meeting because she was a strong advocate of early intervention, childhood education, and so I'm really pleased to see that it may not have happened during her time with the school committee, but the work moved forward.
Thank you. Beth Lambert, Literacy Grant.
No slide presentation for me tonight. I just wanted to give you a quick update. I'm sure a couple of weeks ago that you heard the announcement Governor Mills had set aside $10 million towards improving literacy instruction across the state. So there were a couple of steps to it. The first step required Mr. Nelson to reply to an email that says, yes, Sanford School Department is interested. So he took care of his part, which led on to my part.
I like that email.
It was a good email. Yep. So just to give a little bit of background, over a year ago, I started a literacy committee where for grades K through 5, and we reviewed a book, try to understand what is good balanced literacy instruction. It takes pieces from balanced literacy, reading, science of reading. What does that look like? We reviewed it as a group, and I had everybody from elementary teachers and ed techs, librarians, administrators, special ed, and title teachers. So I kind of had everybody in the pool. And so as we went through the process, we identified what makes for good literacy instruction, and that was supported through the science of reading. So we knew we were on the right path. So from there, so our goal is to try to better align our current curriculum with research-based, the current research that's out there. So we're currently piloting, so after that work got done, I started doing some of the background work for teachers and digging into what are some current research-based, with good reviews curriculum. And I narrowed it down to, sorry, drew a blank. It's called Core Knowledge, English Language Learning, or English Language. So we actually have 2 teachers in each grade, 1 through 5, that are piloting it. 4th and 3rd grade started today, actually. We had training, so they're piloting it to see how it feels in the classroom, if it's doing everything we want it to do. Because this particular program takes our reading, our writing, our phonics and word work and handwriting and grammar and mechanics and puts it all into one cohesive curriculum rather than having sort of different ones for each piece. And it also embeds some really deep background knowledge in science and social studies, which is one of the reasons if kids don't have that deep background knowledge in elementary, it's one of the reasons they tend to struggle when they hit middle and high school. So we're trying to fill in kind of those pieces as well. So anyway, what this grant, as I propose the grant, it would allow us to actually implement this new curriculum, grades 1 through 5, all next year. If we don't get the grant, we could still implement it. It would just be 1 or 2 grades a year over the course of the next 2 or 3 years. So, and the grant would pay for all of the materials, teacher and student and online programming, all of the mentor text sets to help the kids dig deeper. So it would be kind of a soup to nuts with a lot of professional development to support them as well. And I asked the teachers, I said, first impressions, the ones that started today, I said, first impressions are everything, thoughts? And they were like, the kids loved it. It was really cool. And it was set up in such a way that even in day 1, the teacher didn't feel stressed because it walked her right through it. I was like, okay, great. So day 1 was a success, so I was really happy. So.
Well, I think the grant, the timing of the grant lines up really nice with where we are and the work that you've done, Beth, and your team to be able to do that. So that was, and I don't want to jinx us, but I think that work lines up nice, that I'm very optimistic and hopeful that grant is going to be able to come through for us. Because of that alignment, just feels like we're well positioned and well set up to really use that to really impact our students and staff's grades 1 through 5.
Yep, really excited. So it closes on the 16th, and I don't think they told us when we'd hear by. I'm assuming probably mid-late spring would be my guess, so fingers crossed.
That's awesome. Thank you. Did anybody have any questions or anything? Okay, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is new business.
Yes, so first, I guess it's really just the first introduction to the 2024-2025 school calendar. Not looking for any action this evening. This is just for discussion purposes. As you know, when it comes to the school calendar, that's something that us being able to offer Sanford Regional Technical Center, where the rules are that all of the sending schools have to have a calendar with no more than 5 dissimilar days. So this is something that the sending schools to SRTC that we've been working on. And so I'm presenting it here mainly for feedback. If you look, next year's calendar, Labor Day in September is Monday, September 2nd. Labor Day is early in the calendar. And typically that's going to allow this calendar to move us back to starting school. The first day of school for students would be the Tuesday after Labor Day. The last few years we've had to go prior to Labor Day because it was so late. But now we're moving back. If you look at that calendar, new teacher orientation would be that last week in August for on Tuesday, August 27th. Our staff in service days would be Wednesday and Thursday of that week, August 28th and 29th. That would still give people the 4-day weekend with the Labor Day holiday. We would start on Tuesday, September 3rd. That would mainly be grades 1 through 9 plus SRTC. On that day, kindergarten would start later, and the upperclassmen at high school would also come in on the 4th. Very similar to what we've done from that point on. Wednesdays would be early releases again. We would have an in-service day on Friday, October 11th. That is the Friday of the Indigenous People holiday on the 14th. That lines up with the Career and Technical Education statewide conference. So that will be an in-service day on the 11th. Then one thing that's on there that I want to point out is Tuesday, November 5th. That is going to be a voting. That's the voting day. And Tuesday, November 5th will be a presidential election, working with the City of Sanford officials, looking to use Sanford High School, Sanford Regional Technical Center as a voting site, and also using Sanford Middle School as a voting site. That being said, that day, not sure how that's going to look like yet. Is that going to be a day, because there is talk around the state that might be a day off for every school in the state, or is that just something for the high school and middle school and SRTC to be off that day where the elementary schools would still be in school? That would have to be probably a combo remote day for the high school and middle school / professional development day for middle school and high school and SRTC staff. So that's a piece that still needs to be worked out. Other than that, you look at the rest of November. The Veterans Day holiday will be on Monday the 11th this year. Thanksgiving is late. We'll be off the 27th and 28th and 29th for Thanksgiving. If you move down a little bit more on that calendar, you'll see in December that where Christmas is on a Wednesday this year, we'll go right up to Friday, December 20th. And then that holiday break will lead right up until January. So if you scroll back down, nope, up, sorry. January, keep going. January 2nd would be a Thursday, so that's when the break would be from there. We'd come back. Martin Luther King Day is on the 20th. We would still look at having the February vacation starting on the 17th, and then the April vacation starting on the 21st. And then if you scroll up, down through May, Memorial Day is on the 26th. And then based on this, to take our 175 student days, the last day of school would be Tuesday, June 10th, without any snow days. High school graduation would be on June 4th, and without the snow days, June 10th. And then we would have opportunity for snow days. We'd like to not go past the 18th, because the Juneteenth holiday is Thursday the 19th. So that's a first look at the calendar. As we look at it, it's trying to get back to our what we had done previously when Labor Day is early. And so looking for any feedback from the school committee about that calendar. As I said, this is not a take action. This is more of just informational purposes, looking for feedback on that proposed calendar.
I think everybody's going to be happy about the long Christmas break, for one.
Yeah. And I think the starting after Labor Day, too. Looks good. Anybody have anything to say?
My seniors may have something to say over there. Yeah, I felt that. I could just feel that, and that's okay. I understand that with that. So that's more of us trying to get the 175 days in. And you have to also know that seniors also should be doing the 175 days as well.
I'm just happy for everybody that's going to school next year.
Yeah.
Well played. Well said, Aiden.
Okay, moving forward, December 2023 financials. Cheryl, you're up.
Good evening. So tonight we're going to talk about the December financials. We're running below budget for expenses by about 1.1 million. I think some of it is to do with last year, December had 3 payrolls, and it doesn't this year. And we're just slightly under last year by about 276,000, so we're running right within what we did last year. Revenues are running about $320,000 above last year, and that's all subsidies, so that's what's running that. Most of the Acton stuff will be coming in January. Federal grants, we've had $882,000 worth of revenue and $885,000 worth of expenses. So we're running right in line with that. Enterprise fund, we've had $1.1 million worth of revenue and $1.3 million worth of expenses. And that's always the 1 month of nutrition that we are always waiting on. ESSER, we've got $2 million worth of revenue. Some of that was for prior year expenses on that revenue, and $1 million worth of expenses. Other major grants, we've had $88,000 in revenue and $688,000 in expenses. As of today, we just got the Russ grant in cash, so I am super happy about that. But unfortunately, that won't be there until February. But it's coming. Article 1. Yep. We're running just about $125,000 below budget, which is awesome. And we're running slightly above budget by $86,000. Nothing concerning there. Our Article 2, which is special ed, we're running about $326,000 below budget and $86,000 above last year, which that's also running true to form, so that's awesome. CTE, or Article 3, is running about $170,000 below budget, and we're running about $100,000 less than last year. I think a lot of that has to do with we used to pay Tipper through the SRO contract, and so that just kind of skews the data a little bit. And so now he's actually an employee and getting paid during the teacher contract. Article 4 is running $66,000 below budget, and it's running about $11,000 less than last year, believe it or not. Majority of that is the officials that we pay in a lump sum at the beginning of the year, and we slowly draw down on that, and so that's part of the reason for that. But we're going to be within budget. Article 5, we're running about $33,000 below budget, and we're running about $242,000 more than last year. There's nothing that's pointing out other than some timing on a few invoices that seem to be skewing that data a little bit on how we've been paying this year compared to last year. Article 6, we're running about $14,000 below budget, and we're running about $40,000 above last year, so that all seems to be running true to form also. Article 7, we're running about, this one's couldn't get much closer. Article 7, we're running about $12,000 below budget, and we're actually running about $12,000 higher than last year. So we seem to be going right in form on that one too. Article 8, we're running about $125,000 below budget, but we're running a lot, like $242,000 more than last year. A lot of that is timing. They were behind on doing our monthly billing last year, and so that's what's skewing that from prior year to this year. But when you look at it on a percentage basis, we're running true to form. I'm a little concerned about the special ed portion of the transportation, but the remaining part I'm not concerned about. So we're keeping a close tabs on that and watching that account. That looked like he was going to say something. Article 9, we're running about $2,000 below budget and about $228,000 less than last year. That would be because of the Willard building, all the startup costs. So that's why we're running below prior year. Article 9, we're running about $7,000 below budget. Yep, below budget, I wrote it down wrong. And then $86,000 less than last year, and that's because of interest. Article 11, we are about $8,000 below budget. It makes it look like a lot, but it's really not. It's just a small number. Below budget, and we're running about $23,000 above last year, and that's because now we're including, actually Sarah is now in this section instead of in the SRTC section this year. Adult education, we're running about $15,000 below last year, below budget, and we're about $29,000 above last year. A lot of that is also to do to Willard building and startup costs that were included in that. And that would be the financials for the year, for the December.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? No? Okay, recommendation to approve the December 2023 financials as presented.
So moved.
I would love to second that.
Thank you very much. All in favor? All in favor. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, moving forward, no old business to discuss, resignations and retirements and so on. Mr.
Yep,
Nelson.
so we'll start with retirements first. Losing some people who've contributed a lot of time and energy and effort and expertise to the Sanford School Department. Joanne Barassa, the administrative assistant at the high school, will be retiring at the end of June. Celeste Bemis, Title I teacher, also retiring after a long career in Sanford. Rebecca Laborsmith, school psychologist. She's relocating, heading out west. So we're going to be losing Rebecca. Carrie White, special education resource room, ed tech, also retiring at the end of the school year. And then we have a couple resignations to announce. David Harmon is the benefits specialist. And then a couple athletics. Brock Sanborn is the middle school track coach. Outdoor track coach. Andrew Dumond is resigning the junior varsity softball coach because Andrew's going to be, as far as the appointments, Andrew's going to be appointed as the varsity softball coach. Congratulations to Andrew. We also have Allie Jeske, academic interventionist. This is an ESSER position, remainder for the school year at MCS. Jennifer Cody returns to us as an ed tech at the high school. Connor Kilroy, a long-term substitute as a school counselor at the high school. Greg Fandaka, middle school outdoor track coach at the middle school. As I already mentioned, Andrew Dumont, varsity softball coach. Alexander Mitchum, long-term substitute special education ed tech over at Carl J. Lamb. I do have a Schedule D appointment. A mentor for a probationary teacher will be Gwen Townge. One transfer to announce, Gilbert Emmons moving from a custodial sub position for us to the first shift custodian position at the high school in SRTC. And there is one nomination, asked the school committee to take action on and approve Shaylin Gagnon, returning to us. Shaylin's coming back as a general education social worker, the ESSER position for the remainder of the school year at Sanford Pride Elementary. Looking to have her recommendation approved.
I make a motion to approve Shaylin Gagnon to the professional staff as presented.
Thank you. Amy, you want to second it?
I will.
All right, thank you very much. All in favor? All in favor? Policies and procedures. We have first reading.
Okay, we have a first reading tonight of a policy and a procedure. Both policies relate to our multilingual learners. The first one is the policy IHBEA, which is Program for English Language Learners. Policy IHBA was last updated in 2004. The updated policy changes include Details on what the LAO plan consists of, including procedures for identification, assessment, programming, monitoring progress, exit, reclassification, follow-up, and parent-guardian notification. It also adds language in regards to an appointment of a language assessment committee to assist with the coordination, oversight, and periodic review of the English Learner Program. It includes a note in regards to school committee approval of the LAO plan before it is submitted to the Maine Department of Education. It includes parent and guardian notification of the instructional program and their rights, and regular parent-guardian updates of their child's progress in a language they understand. And I should have started with, a LAO plan is what guides the work we do with our multilingual learners. Every district is required to have a LAO plan. The second piece tonight is the policy, IHBA-R, which is the actual LAO plan. And this was just updated in 2021, but the Maine Department of Education, they like to stay on top of their use of language, and so we have some language changes that have been updated. It changes the English language learners designation to multilingual learners to reflect the current Maine Department of Education language being used. Updates to terms and definitions including ML, ELP, which is English Language Proficiency, and removes the model. The model was the old assessment that we used in kindergarten. It updates the screening assessment to reflect the use of the Weider screener for kindergarten. It adds a new performance level for access, which is 6, which is reaching. It moves the writing of the personal learning plans to September. Previously, that was done in the spring, but has been moved to the fall. It updates program to reflect current service delivery model and updates other minor language changes. The big thing in there is the language changes, and in terms of our service delivery model, we are now providing pull-out model and direct instruction in English where we were not providing that before. So that's why the plan has been adjusted. And I recommend the first reading of that policy and procedure.
I make a motion to accept the first reading of policy IHBEA and procedure IHBEA-R as presented.
I will second that.
And the following policies will be...
All in favor?
There we go.
All in favor.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm trying to move this.
You're good. We appreciate that.
Next one.
The following policies will be presented for a second reading. The first one is going to be the child fine policy, policy IHBAC. That updates the child fine responsibilities from ages 20 to 22. That timeline has been extended. So that was what was added to that policy. It adds a timeline for 30 days to conduct child fine policies. So when a student registers, if we have 30 days to screen the child to make sure that they do not need to be referred for special education. And child fine, we're talking about our pre-K and our kindergarten students. And it updates the legal references. The second policy is a live work policy. SRTC has done some work to adjust the specific requirements in regards to live work that is done. And the third one is the BEDB, which is the school committee agenda. We're updating where we are posting our agenda. Our agenda used to be posted, we make a copy, we post it in all the schools, all the post offices, all the libraries. In this day and age with technology, that is no longer needed. So I recommend a second reading of IHBAC, IHAI, and BEDB. The procedure for dangerous students, that is not ready for a second reading, and that will come for you at the next meeting. There's one thing we need to double check on that one.
I make a motion to accept the updated IHBAC, IHAI, and BEDB as presented.
I will second that.
Thank you. All in favor? All in favor. Much appreciated, Steve. No future items to discuss and calendar announcements?
Sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, light agenda tonight. Most of our work's focused on school committee budget. Next school committee budget workshop will be this Wednesday, February 7th at 4 o'clock. We'll also have a school committee budget workshop next Monday. That'll be on February 12th. That start time won't be at 4, it'll be at 4:30. For that, we have teacher negotiations from 2:30 to 4:30 on the 12th. Also, our next regular school committee meeting will be on Monday, February 26th. That'll be at 6 p.m. right here in the chambers. Remember, that's when we have to take action on the school committee budget. We're holding a potential school committee budget workshop prior to that meeting, just in case there is still some work that needs to be finalized for that. And then we'll turn right around again and have another regular school committee meeting on Monday, March 4th. And the City Council School Committee budget presentations for the month of March will take place beginning on Tuesday, March 5th. So those are some of our upcoming meetings.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody. Recommendation to adjourn this meeting at 7:06.
So moved.
Thank you very much. Seconded. Thank you, Emily. All in favor? All in favor. Good night, everybody.